And I observed the tail of the object was an oval shape, and it also had a small fin like an airplane, triangular shape, but it was much smaller, more, it was smaller. It didn't seem like there'd be any use of, to any aircraft that, known to man. The vehicle stayed there for approximately an hour and a half without moving. Then it started to turn from side to side, and it would move up and move down sideways, back and forth. And then it proceeded then to leave the Clarenville area. At first, it started off very, very slowly. It appeared to be driving probably at an airspeed of a jet, a normal jet, no faster. So I left the lower road there in Clarenville called Marine Drive. Came back to the office. I set up the telescope here in this office and watched it leave the area. And just as a split second, the vehicle disappeared. Now I can't say whether I really myself, I don't even know what the object was, but I was positive it definitely was not a star. In fact, I did try to zoom in the brightest star just to be on the safe side before I did make any type of an official report. And this proved negative. There was no way I could zoom in a star at this range. I haven't seen the object since. We have had many reports of the object been seen lately, but they've been proved negative. Well, that's all I can tell you right now, Mr. Strong, about the object.
Constable, there was an opinion of how big the object might have been, how long it might have been, or how high it might have been.
Well, the size appeared to me, I don't know if you noticed the 737 Boeings that the EPA used. It was a little bit larger than that, but a little smaller than your DC-8. It's about in the middle there somewhere.
100 feet?
Yes.
And how high would it be?
It was approximately 2,000 to 3,000 feet.
No wings, it was just simply...
No, the sky was clear. There wasn't a cloud in the sky.
Would you mind holding up the drawing you did of the object cameras?
Yes, this is just a rough sketch of the object, and you notice here that this is the tail that I mentioned earlier, and it's a very small tail. Now, the blue flashing lights, there was one on this side here and one on the other side of the vehicle. The red light was approximately here, and
it turned around as you watched it.
Yes, well, first I viewed it from this side, and then it turned face onto me, and then it turned to the other side. I could see the other light flashing, and then it turned back onto me again.
Just slowly turning?
Just slowly, yes. It wasn't quick movement. And then it made quick movements up and down, and then back and forth this way. And always returning to the same position where it was before. Now, the structure, I couldn't tell what the structure was, but I could plainly see there was no windows of any type on the object. I couldn't see any openings where a door would be or anything like that, but it was obvious that it was metallic structure, but what type of metal I wouldn't care to guess, but it wasn't, it didn't seem like aluminum, where aluminum shines. This was like a dull metal, very porous dull metal.
There was no markings?
None whatsoever, no.
And the light lower part that showed the light was the bottom?
This bottom part here. All this bottom half here.
Totally aglow.
Totally aglow, yes. And as I focused the zoom to maximum, the light was that intense that it was hard to see, through the telescope. It was that intense it would almost hurt your eyes. But at a distance, with the naked eye, you could plainly see this glow, and then the lights over top of it.
Was it gray color, would you say?
The metal appeared to be a grayish color. It appeared to be a very dense, it appeared to be like a heavy metal, not like an airplane metal or aluminum.
And although the light was flashing on the side, there was no indication of a porthole or a window.
No, just the light. I couldn't see that clear what the light was housed in, or how it was flashing.
And of course, the couple who had called you in the first case to bring about the sighting, they were seeing it, they were witnesses to it anyway.
Oh yes, yes.
And they had no doubt.
No, well, the husband did look through the telescope with me at the time when I had it set up down on the Marine Drive. And
Seeing a man in his mid-40s or what?
yes, I would say yes.
And a resident of Clarenville.
Yes.
And this, there has been no other time when the vehicle, a similar vehicle like this, had been seen in this area?
Well, the resident called a week prior to that and stated that the object was there. And he stated to me this night that this was the same object that he'd seen the week before, although no members of our detachment did observe it.
I understand there's a radio man in town who was also seen in an object like this. I understood from the sergeant.
Well, I don't know anything about that. No, I don't know anything about that.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Constable? Because I think this is rather an historical film we're doing for the archives. It's certainly the most incredible discovery, I think, as we discover a vehicle that's not a helicopter, obviously, because that's the only component of this in this way.
Well, if it was a helicopter, with the magnification I had, I would have plainly seen the props rotating. A normal aircraft has a red light above the the fuselage and as well on the bottom, but these are only used during takeoff and landing. It's very seldom you see them operating while in flight. Usually a jet is much higher than what this object was. This was just barely above the horizon.
Was it actually over Random Island itself?
Yes, it appeared to be around the district of Weybridge in Elliott's Cove, which is across the water here is approximately half a mile.
Which is over that.
Yes.
So it's possible that people in that area might have seen it.
Oh yes, I'm surprised that we haven't received more reports than we did. Like I say, it was in the middle of the week, of course, and it was there until approximately I believe 3:30 before it left.
We're talking about October 26, 1978.
That's right. Yes. It's a normal reaction from any human being. You would say, well, anybody's talking about a flying saucer or UFO. Well, it's a lot of mumble jumble. I say probably a lot of people here in Newfoundland don't believe these things, but it really changed my outlook of the situation since I did sight this object. Like I say, Mr. Sterling, I still can't say what it was, what kind of a vehicle it was, or whatever kind of an aircraft. But it certainly changed my outlook on the situation. I always have been a non-believer in these things before, but it really changed my opinion after seeing this thing.
Can you say how you now believe there is such a thing as a UFO?
Well, it appeared, well, after what I've seen, I suppose I wouldn't be able to say, no, I don't believe them. I'd have to say yes.
There was no wings on it, there was no sign of propellers or jet engines.
There was nothing there that I could see was holding that thing in the air, other than this small little tail at the rear end, but like I said, I couldn't see how that had any use to me.
Pyramid shape.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Of course, under the theories, the pyramid was an anti-gravitational engine, and that they reversed the gravity, and that's one of the theories they have on these vehicles. But it means that there's technology we don't know about somewhere in the cosmos. In other words, we've seen a vehicle that is contrary to any exists in the world.
Yes, well, I've taken up airplane building as a hobby myself. I've known just about every aircraft ever built, but this is the first one of this design that I've ever seen or even read about.
And of course, it's impossible to estimate how big it was, other than it was between those two planes you mentioned. But it would certainly be over 100 or 200 feet long.
Oh yes, definitely, yes.
So a vehicle 200 feet long and 30 or 40 feet high, hovering for over an hour and a half. under telescope observation is certainly something that's beyond our present understanding of aerodynamics. And I can well understand it must have been, after you'd seen it, after you start thinking and being asked about it, must have really been a strange sensation.
Well, it was. My first glimpse of it, like I said before, I was very bewildered. And then after looking into the other witnesses' binoculars, I was even more amazed. But then after I observed through a telescope, I didn't know what to think to myself. I said, what am I looking at? Is it a star? And so this is what I went ahead and focused in the brightest star I could find. And I said, no, it's not a star. But these lights is what really threw me off. It's not what I expected to see in a UFO. I thought you'd just see a white light, and that, this is all there was to it.
Blue and a red and white, blue on each side and a red and white, fast, and all of them were flickering on and off at a tremendous speed.
Very tremendous speed, yes. It was almost like the speed of what we had those white lights they use in these rock and roll groups, where it distorts the vision if you're ever in the building at the time. It was flashing almost as fast as these would flash. But just the same, I couldn't tell if it was revolving, but it appeared to me it was just going off and on.
But you couldn't see where it was coming from. In other words, there's no windows. There must have been a tiny, very tiny opening where the lights were coming.
Yes.
And we're talking to Constable Jim Blackwood of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Detachment in Clarenville, Newfoundland, and we've just heard described to you a sighting that was seen at 1:50 a.m. of the morning of the 26th of October 1978. As we close this verification from the RCMP detachment, we'd like to thank Chief Inspector Barr and his staff for allowing us permission to have this interview. We'd like to thank very much the sergeant here in charge, and we'd like to thank you, Constable Jim Blackwood, for your cooperation. We feel it's a very historical film that we put in the archives, the sighting in Newfoundland.
Come